Valia, Honorary Joint Secretary of the Cosmopolitan Education Society, Dr. Valia, in charge principal, Ms. Rajlakshmi Naik, Vice Principal, Self-Finance Section, various invited guests, colleagues, and students, for a very unusual session. Our session today is transitioning to a career in project management. In true Indian tradition, before we begin our session, we are going to welcome our guests with a token of our appreciation and gratitude. And may I first request Shri Valia, President of the Cosmopolitan Education Society, to kindly do the honors. May I now invite Srimati Valia to present a small token of our gratitude and appreciation. May I request Shri Valia, President of the Cosmopolitan Education Society, to kindly address the gathering.
Hello. Very good morning to all. Our chief guest, Pradeep Bhai, our principal Mageshri ma'am, our GC colleagues, invited guests, our all senior teachers and dear students. We all are privileged to have with us Mr. Pradeep Mehta, Vice President, Project Controls, AEO USA. He is internationally recognized expert in project management, best practices with over 40 years of global experience in energy, infrastructure and environmental sectors. He has delivered lectures at several IITs, presented 25 plus international publications. He also consults law firms and other sectors like in energy and other infrastructure sectors. And he is certified PMP, CCE, PSP, EDP and RMP professional. So congratulations. We all wonder how could you do all this? I'm sure you did not buy it from supermarket. You must have earned it. So congratulations. So it's a great opportunity for all of us to listen to his experience, guidance and views which in today's fast changing scenario of world economics and market economics is so important for all of you students. He is a perfect role model for all of you students. On top of it, he is a man of commitment and dedication. He has very busy schedule. He just landed yesterday night from USA, and in his busy schedule, he agreed to give us a time and date. So we are very thankful to you, Pradeep Bhai, and we are also grateful to thank you on behalf of our institute, and we shall continue to be in your touch for your valuable guidance for our students' career. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bharat sir. So while Bharat sir has given us a very tantalizing glimpse of what lies ahead, I have the privilege of formally introducing our guest of the day. Now this is a privilege that comes with a mixed bag of emotions. Definitely there is honor, definitely there is joy and pleasure, but there is also the responsibility of conveying these impressive credentials to the audience and to do justice to these credentials. I hope I'm able to do just that today. Mr. Pradeep Mehta, with his mastery in the domain of project management, together with his 40 rich, long years of experience in various capacities, including the one as the Vice President of Project Controls at AECOM, a global project management conglomerate, and in executing projects in energy infrastructure, process, and environmental industry, has earned for himself the distinction of being an international guest speaker on the subject of project management. With over 25 scholarly publications, he is a well-known figure in global project management forums and at IITs across the country, where he promotes project management as a career. His academic qualifications are equally awe-inspiring. He is a civil engineer from the prestigious BJTI, where he simultaneously pursued cost accountancy, that is the ICWA. He went on to pursue his MS in construction management from Georgia Institute of Technology, Atlanta. He is a certified Design Build Institute professional, also known as DEIA, a certified cost engineer, CCE, a planning and scheduling professional, PSP, earned value professional, EVP, and a risk management professional, RMP. To be very honest, I don't even know the meaning of some of these terms, and I confess this to him very honestly. But after this very intimidating list of professional and academic qualifications, I have the pleasure of sharing something about our guest which will immediately endear him to all of us. Our speaker is an ardent cricket enthusiast, having witnessed all the ODI World Cup tournaments since 1999. And the icing on the cake? By his own confession, he loves Bollywood, Mumbai street food, and vada pav and idli sambar are his self-confessed weaknesses. A very warm welcome to you, sir. The forum is now yours.
Thank you so much, Ms. Meena. Very kind introduction. I think the most important paragraph in the introduction was my passion for World Cup cricket, Pavada, idli sambar, and Bollywood. Believe me, I will have some anecdotal stories about each one of them during my presentation. So again, thanks a lot for a very kind introduction. And I'm truly delighted to be here in front of students of Valia College, to my view, as a quick essential embodiment of future of Indian intellectual horsepower. Just as a preface, as I mentioned that this is like my third what I would call project management pilgrimage. I was here last October, I was invited by Mumbai IIT to speak on project management. I think the lecture that I'm going to deliver is very similar to what I delivered to IIT Mumbai and other IITs last October. Then also I went to Project Management Institute, which is a global organization. They have a very active chapter in Chennai, where I address dispute resolution and legal implication of project-related damages. I'm going to cover that topic in general, but that session was full of legal implication. But I think as a project manager, there will be always situations that you're going to have the project in dispute, and you have to fully understand the legal implication of which are getting involved. Then I think the what called power of warmth, the word of mouth, word got out. And then last February I got invited by IIT Kharagpur, where I gave a keynote speech at the Meghalith conference. Also also went to IIT Guwahati in Assam, and also went to IIT Roorkee. And by the way, I also went to Haridwar and Rishikesh, very close to Roorkee. That's where I had my ultimate enlightenment, and then prompted me to come to Valia College. That's why I'm here. All right. By the way, as I mentioned that I just arrived yesterday afternoon. I did not get any sleep in the plane, and also I had a very comfortable sleep. Yesterday I woke up at 3 a.m. So if I come across somewhat incoherent, if I blank out, please bear with me. Anyhow, it's all Professor Radlakshmi's fault. She's the one who invited me. So, all right. Now, some of you may wonder, well, this guy has given his lectures to this highly rated technological institution, IIT and JTI. So, what am I doing in this Valia College? Right? So, just to kind of give you a background, that Valia College is governed by Board of Trustees belonging to Kapoor community. Sure. Huh? You cannot hear me? Is that right? A little low. Can you put this up or not? Now what I'm saying, can you put the volume up? Can you put the volume up? Yeah. This is the highest volume? Or no? I like it. Okay. Can everyone hear me? Yes. Yes, hand, please raise your hand. Okay, thank you. So as I mentioned, that this college is governed by Board of Trustees belonging to the Kapoor community, and I belong to Kapoor community. A small group in the center of Vaishnav Valia. Just to give you a Bollywood introduction, the 1960s famous actress Asha Parekh, she's a Kapoor. Himesh Reshammiya, the great music composer. I see a little green on your face, so all I can tell him that he's basically a good, talented musician. And if I could also mention my niece, Uhasi Dhami Goradia, her first cousin is right here. She was a TV serial actress of Ye Mein Ghar Kheli, 2011, won the series award. So a lot of talent in the Kapoor community, and for the fourth one to be Pradeep Mehta, right? So, Bharat called me and suddenly invited me to give a talk, and then he put me in touch with Professor Rajlakshmi, and I recall when I spoke to her, we had a great conversation. I was so impressed to learn that she is a mechanical engineer from Museum Mumbai, and then went to further studies in London, and when he came back to dedicate her career to academia. It's very noble. Please give a big hand. It's more of them, India is more of them, alright? So, you know about these niceties, so let's get down to the business. Business at hand, alright? So what I'm going to do today is to share with you my journey in project management. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to share with you 3 professional case studies that I have presented in various global PM forums. So essentially, I have promoted all of you as a project manager. For next 2 hours, we all are project managers. So what I'm going to talk about is the same issue and topic that I talked about in the global PM forum. Repeat in a simplified way, if I may. So So the first case study that I'm going to represent, I gave that in Rio, Brazil in 2015, and it deals with project performance tracking, and it gets into some of the nuances and the behavior of the underlying project performance parameter that draws variances. And if you are not careful, if you don't understand, you could make a mistake and mislead management over the project status. As a matter of fact, I'm going to share with you two case studies where both having a finance background, by the way, got fired because they chose to interpret the data incorrectly. So real studies are also important. The second case study that I'm going to share with you, I was involved as I headed the development of enterprise project management system for Port Authority of New Jersey. And what we did was we brought 500 projects from 5 different operating units, impacting almost 1,000 stakeholders in one singular platform. And actually we were the first public agency to migrate to an enterprise project management platform back in 2003. And what I want to share with you is not as much as business requirement, but the social engineering that we have to do to navigate to market that system all across stakeholders. And those are lessons that I personally learned, which I want to share with you. The third case study is which I did in Denmark, Copenhagen, their risk management conference. I was involved in implementing a project management system for a $12.5 billion Chada infrastructure program back in 2014. And I just want to share with you and give you an idea of how you set up such a large program from scratch. What are the different process and elements that are involved in setting up a project management system. So, coming back to the project management, one of the things that you quickly learn in project management is there are many situations where there are no right and wrong answers. Contrary to our education system, where basically you are asked to provide a right and wrong answers. And that's very different than when you deal with project management. Basically what you do is you make your decision based on the facts that you are available in your app. And your assessment of the predictability of the future event is done. And sometimes you could go wrong. You could fail. But that's all right. That's the nature of the beast. And what I have seen is many subject matter experts, when they transition to project management, some do well, some do not do well. They cannot transition to this imperfect world. They cannot deal with setbacks and failure. I'll give you a good analogy. I can mention about love for cricket. A good analogy will be game of sports. So let's talk about 2024 World Cup. The final game in Barbados, right? India versus South Africa. Final over by Hardik Pandya. 12 hours to go. David Muller batting, right? And the very first ball, he hits almost a six. But then you have this Surya Kumar Yadav, basically what they call catch of the century, and he got out, and we won the game. So let me give you a hypothetical scenario. Let's say during the last over, the wind started blowing strong. Same pitch, same stroke, same bowler would have gone for a six. And probably South Africa would have won the game. Not in Rohit Sharma's terms. But do you think when Rohit Sharma got interviewed, you would have said, well, we lost the game because the wind started blowing? No. He's going to accept the full responsibility. He's going to give a credit to the team. And the life goes on. So perceptions are very important. Sometimes your project will fail because the factors were beyond your control. But kind of take that as a part of the game, that you have to face it. Accept the responsibility the area where I find sometimes when people transition, they don't do very well. So, yeah, let me tell you a bit of my education background. I did my civil engineering at Valia, and it was mentioned. There also, yeah, okay. Also, in parallel, I did ICWA, study of cost economy. Let me ask you, how many of you are aware of ICWA Institute? Any hands? Unbelievable. So, after we got independence, Indian Parliament created two institutions. One was in 1949, which was Institute of Chartered Accountants. I'm sure you all know about chartered accountants, right? The second one was ICWA, and I saw ICMAI, Institute of Cost and Management. They changed the name. It was established in 1959 to basically promote cost economic practices. The difference between a chartered accountant and cost accountant, the chartered accountant will tell you after the fact, depending on project with a loss or profit. Tell me about it, I already know about this. But what cost accountant will do to the work in progress methodology, which I will share with you, to the project performance techniques, would warn you in advance whether the project is overrunning or underrunning. So you have sufficient time to do the mitigation and avoid the potential pitfalls. It's a very forward-looking technique. It's not after the fact like chartered accountant. So, as a matter of fact, ICWA exams nationwide was much tougher than the CA. CA results were coming out 2%, but ICWA was 0.5. And I was telling, I believe, Professor Raj Lakshmi, that we should get results in economic times. And that result, nationwide result, will come in two columns, only two columns. And they will start with Alphabet, Allahabad Center, Ahmedabad Center. They will have one line which will say, no candidates have been successful. You will only see numbers in Calcutta, Bombay, Madras, and Delhi. Maybe some in Bangalore and Tripura. It was a very tough exam. So I did that concurrently. And it was a very progressive institute. They introduced operation research back in 1935 ahead of my engineering curriculum. And you frankly heard of the chartered accountant curriculum. They copied ICW's curriculum for operation research. And I took on a course in operation research from Data Analytics Corporation. It was in Fora founder at that time. So some of you may say, I'm a dedicated guy, 9 to 5, doing Vijayatya, and then 7 to 9 is going to Fora founder. But let me make a confession. My main motivation to go to Fora founder, because then I got to eat 3 vada pav and sugarcane juice in Fora founder CPO station, very popular at that time. And I would take 6 limited, 7 to 8 limited, 5:30 from Circle. It will take 1 hour, and I will eat at 6:30. Then my 3 vada pav and sugarcane juice, and then attend my operation research course. And believe me, I have been to some of the best restaurants across the world. There is no other dinner that came any close to give me that sense of satisfaction and sense of elation like the 3 vada pav and sugarcane juice. And you know, frankly, I'm willing to sponsor any research if you like to do it. I think that there is some chemical reaction that happens between the saliva that gets created, which we call laugh, and the sugarcane juice. It's very intoxicating. It's very addictive. And I remember one evening, I had 3 vada pav and there was no sugarcane juice part. So we were going to Data Analytics and look for another vendor. It took me 15 minutes, and when I got it, I was late and there was a surprise test. And I didn't do well in that exam, so I was really shaken up. So from next time, then I started taking the bus 50 minutes early. So taking 5:30, I started taking 5:15. So I learned the concept of risk management when I was in second year civil engineering. And I got my certification 25 years later, right? So that was a great experience. builder who basically advised me that if you want to go to the corporate sector faster, you have to develop understanding of project costing, project financing, of course your technical. Whatever is done, my nephew, dear nephew, is right here. His name is Hakubai Gorodia, and he was the chief construction manager at Kamani Engineering. He molded my career to where I am. So certainly, if no more by the way, but it's certainly looking down and smiling and sort of. So after I graduated from Jitcha, I did my master's in construction management to Jitcha. And since then, I've been involved in project management for 40 years. And been involved in managing energy, infrastructure, environmental process, all sorts of projects. And right now, I'm working as an advisor to a law firm, advising on some of the critical litigation issues. So, let me start the presentation. I'm just going to go through the slides faster. I have 3 case studies. I have over 150 slides by the way. So I may skip some of the slides as we go along. So let's go to the next one. So here is a typical matrix of project type versus typical background of a project manager. So you have energy, mechanical, electrical engineer, infrastructure will be civil, structural, petrochemical will be chemical, ERP system, finance, IT. As a matter of fact, I was involved in implementing enterprise-wide project management system. Recently, I'm going to share with you. Just my humble observation, I think that sometimes.
Sure. So, thank you. So, depending upon the organizations you work for, sometimes what I have seen that you may have an IT team which is very powerful organization, and by default, they will take the lead in the ERP system will require a lot of integration. In my humble view, ERP system should be driven by individuals who know the process. It is the process that drives system. So, if I would choose, I would be financial. If you are doing an ERP system for financial accounting, the lead should be from finance. The IT should serve the backup. But I have mentioned IT because it will be very possible that you have a lead who is IT background. Finance will be supporting, depending upon which organization you work for. Information systems, certainly IT background, commercial, civil architecture, application software development. They're very hard thing. Well, you could have IT and commercial, right? And you go through the whole process of planning, designing, doing the coding, then deploying and testing. It's a certainly merger acquisition. Even if you have a finance background, you work for a venture capital firm, but you could be assigned as a project manager to deal with the company that you're trying to acquire, and you are to merge. So that could also happen. And automobiles, sometimes it could be mechanical or material science engineers could be leading the project. Can I have the next one? Please allow me to drink of water. So, what is the project? One of the key elements of project that distinguishes from any other industry is it's a temporary in nature. There's a definite start and there's a definite end. You finish the project and you move on and then you work on another project, other things. So for some, they may say, well, this is too much of, I love to work with the people I have come to know. So they may prefer environment which are more continuous. And I'll get into operations and project may not be meant for them. For me, I'm like a spicy guy. I like working with different personalities. So it should be my DNA. All right. Next one. Okay. Again, is managing the art and science of achieving specified objective efforts of others. I think the last one is very critical, efforts of others. You are not producing an individual product, you are not individual contributor like you used to. You are simply managing different team members and integrating the product into a project. So it's a different set of responsibilities than what you may be used to in the subject matter expert. Next one. So, as I mentioned, I'm very active in Project Management Institute, and they have this, what they call PIMBA, Project Management Body of Knowledge. And they are the one who set the standards and practices of project management. And they have basically identified 9 areas of knowledge. And basically what I'm going to harp on today is 3 of them. Project scope management, time management, and budget management. As a project manager, you'll probably spend 80% of your time in managing 3 elements. The other, the quality, the health and safety, the communication, that concur, they become part and parcel of the process. Okay, so let's go further. So, the triple constraint, let me just go back. When I mentioned about, it's very common that your project may fail because you are executing project within the confines of your scope, which you are required to deliver as per the contract, the schedule, and the budget. Now, typically, you end up delivering the scope because that's what you're in the business for. But it is very possible that you may miss the schedule because things happen. It's not defined and it's not sometimes under your control. Or you may overrun. So in a way, even if you meet your scope objectives, the project could fail because you miss the schedule. And sometimes, if you are delivering a project to an owner which is expecting revenue from the project, there could be a liquidated damages to the contract. And it could be like $1 million per month. So if you miss the schedule by a month, you could be in a very difficult financial situation. So let's go ahead, let's continue. So again, I want to have some interactive session. This is a project performance measurement quiz. And certainly anyone who has some thought, please raise your hand and please feel free to contribute. So I have a project which is 4 years in duration. Alright? So based on my planning, I have a plan curve that at the end of year 2, I'm supposed to spend $2 million. Alright? Planned expenditure is $2 million at the end of year 2. And my graph shows that now only spent 1.8 million. Alright? Spent 2 million, now I'm just spent by 200,000. Alright? So here's the question. Is project under budget? Is project over budget? Or you cannot determine project cost status until more information is provided. Anyone who wants to volunteer? What would be the answer? Yes, please stand up. Huh? Okay. What information you will be seeking for to determine the status? Yeah, but what specific details? You have the right answer, if I may say so, but you have to define for me what specific information you will seek to determine project cost status. I cannot hear you. Yeah, but the cost is there. Cost you spend is 1.8 million and you are planning to spend 2 million. So here, from the surface of it, it clearly shows that you underspent by $2 million, like $200,000. So based on that information, what would be your assessment of the project performance? Or you will seek more information? Please feel free to think, it's okay. It's like, one thing you will learn is sometimes when you apply your common sense, the answer could be B, right? Project under budget. But sometimes in project management, common sense does not prevail until you fully understand the behavior of the project performance parameter, what contributes to that scenario. So, I'm going to a little bit dramatize for you and try to explain, and you will learn very quickly what information you'll be seeking for. So, I have another quiz, but I'll come back to that. So let's move forward. I'll come back to the second quiz. Yeah, let's move forward. So this is all of the presentation I made to the project managers in a global PM forum. So you all are project managers. Alright, so let's go on. One step. So here we go. We have one daughter, name is Priya, and many years ago she basically graduated from high school. She got admission in Georgia Tech, which is my alma mater, and we only one daughter. So me and my wife pat on her back, said, well, we raised this one daughter, she's going away. So let's go out for a cruise in Bahamas for 4 days, And my daughter had enrolled in some dancing classes that she could not join. So what we did was, before we went to the cruise, we told Priya that we wanted to go to them, tear off all your posters and paint the 4 walls of your room when we leave, and we are going out for 4 days, right? So say, yeah, I can do it in 4 days. And to incentivize, we prepared 4 envelopes of each $100, alright? So let's look at the project. The project budget was $400. Project duration was 4 days while we are going in Bahamas. And project description, paint 4 walls. It was a very simple project. So, we go out and we don't hear from Priya for 3 days, right? And at the end of the 3rd day, I get connected to Priya. I say, hey, how are you? Hello? Hello? Can everyone hear me at the end? Can everyone hear me? Alright, thank you. So I asked the question, hey Priya, how is the project going on? So Priya is saying to me, Dad, after you left, I got a call from Jason. His father had a ticket for Celine Dion in Madison Square Garden. He wanted to go out with him and his daddy. So, okay, what else? So, next day I got a call from Jennifer. She was doing a party in a backyard, so she wanted help from me, so I went to go and help her. I said, yeah. How many? So she was conveying that, Dad, I was supposed to take 3 envelopes at the end of 3 days. I only took 2 envelopes. Same thing. I was supposed to do $300 and I only spent $200. Trying to give me the impression that she's a burden. Well, as a parent, well, it's a little fishy the way she's sounding. What question you will ask? Very simple. How many walls did you paint for the $200 that you took? Well, she says, I only painted 1 wall. So the key here is, it's not the issue of how much you underspend. What did you accomplish for that expenditure that you spent? So here, in the technical term, it's called earned value. It's the value of work accomplished. Earned value is $100. Against which she spent $200. So she's clearly overrunning the budget right now. If the trend continues, the project will overrun. And there's a whole issue of schedule variance. She was supposed to make 3 walls. She painted 2 walls, which is 2 walls here. It's very simplistic. I'll come back to that. We could be very misled by the whole definition of schedule variance. Does everyone understand that? The concept of earned value. Any questions on this? Alright, so we go back to the second quiz, alright? Let's go back to the second quiz. Let's go back. Now, project performance quiz number 2. Go back. So here we go. Yes. Number 2. Yeah. So, on the project, same scenario, 4 years. I have planned the progress. I was supposed to be, what's this? 50% complete at the end of year 2. I was supposed to be completed half of the project. Planned, percent complete. And my report shows that I accomplished 52% of the work. I accomplished 2% more than what I planned. So to kind of convert it, let's say I was supposed to perform 40 activities and I performed 45. Again the same question. Am I ahead of schedule? Am I behind schedule? Or need more information to predict the scheduled performance? Again, when you, of course, if you answer C, even the common sense may tell you that you are ahead of schedule, but you will tell me what specific information you will be seeking. And a little bit, I think maybe it's an unfair question because it gets into the whole discussion of critical and non-critical activities. How many of you have ever heard of critical path method for project management? You? Okay, I'm gonna give a very 10,000 foot understanding of CPM, critical and non-critical. So, can I have a, let's say, a woman volunteer? I'm a little bit dramatized. I'm a Bollywood man. Any woman volunteer, please? I'm going to pick one. Anyone? No one? You're shy. Okay, please go ahead. Stand up. What's your name? Purvi? Bhumi? B-H-U-M-I? Okay. Bhumi. Okay. So Bhumi, I'm going to a little bit dramatize for you. Alright? There's some assumptions I'll be making and then I'm going to illustrate the concept of critical and non-critical activities. So Bhumi, you have graduated, you have transitioned yourself very well, company promoted you as a project manager, making a lot of money. Hello? Making a lot of money, and you come from a relatively wealthy family, alright? Now here comes the Bollywood part. Let's say you have a boyfriend. I'm not saying you have it or not, but I'm just hypothesizing. Let's say you have a boyfriend. And your boyfriend comes from not so wealthy family. Typical Bollywood story, right? So, you do a little reverse engineering with your boyfriend, right? You are married with him. So, you end up proposing him, will you marry him? Alright? And the boyfriend was just waiting for it, right? Say yes, right away. I was thinking of the same thing. Something like, Tumhare, hamare khayal kitne milte julte, right? I think the Sanjay Dutt from Hasina Manjay, if I'm there, right? So right away he agrees. Now here comes the concept of critical and non-critical. So you and your fiance now start planning the wedding. It's a 1 year. And you are planning a series of activities, hiring a decorator, hiring a DJ, buy dresses, buy jewelry, series of activities that has to. So let me ask you, your wedding is going to be in a metropolitan Mumbai. What is the first critical activity that you will take care of when you're planning your wedding? Think about it. No. Yeah, you have money. You're from wealthy families. No problem. Your parents is supporting you. No problem. Huh? Venue. Very good. That's the answer. So, the point here being that you live in a Mumbai metropolitan area, venues are very difficult to come by. If you're planning the wedding, after you go to make sure that you have fixed the venue. Now, all other activities, like buying jewelry, buying clothes, you have float available. You don't have to do in the first way. So that's called non-critical activity. Alright? So the question here is, when you say, I have accomplished 52% of the work, which activities contributed to 52%? It could be through performance of non-critical activities, but you are behind the critical part. It's like, for example, in your wedding, all you do first 10 months is to do shopping, do jewelry, generate of one value, but you don't worry about booking the venue until 10th month. It's not going to happen, your wedding is not going to be delayed, right? So that's the concept here. So I'm going to present to you two real-time case studies where this situation occurred. And person who interpreted it with a gross misinterpretation, because maybe they didn't understand the concept. Alright, so let me present to you two case studies. Go ahead. Yeah, move forward. Did everyone understood the concept of critical and non-critical activities? Is it clear? Okay. Please go ahead. I'm going to come back to this unvalued parameters. Okay, here we go. So basically, schedule variance is your planned work versus actual work. So in Priya's example, she was supposed to plan 3 walls and she painted 1 wall, so she was 2 walls behind schedule. Okay? So actual accomplishment minus plan accomplishment is the schedule variance. So what it says is it's a measure of production, how you are producing your work. And in a complex project driven by critical path methodology, the schedule variance could be very misleading. And that's the point I'm going to convey, right? So let's do case study number 1. Okay, so this is from our own personal experience. I was involved, this was back in 1986. We were designing and building a waste to energy project in California. And I was working out of a New York office. And I got a call from the project director, whom I knew very well. He said, Pradeep, I'm this new guy, it's more of the cost background, and he's producing this report, and he's saying, project is ahead of schedule, because the earned value, the value of what accomplished, is higher than the planned value. So based on that, he was advising the project director and ahead of schedule. But his name was Dick Willett. Dick was saying, Pradeep, I don't have a warm and fuzzy feeling in what this guy is doing. Because I'm talking to my discipline lead and they are complaining about not having the right information and the project may be behind schedule. So why don't you come out to my office and I want you to look it over and advise me, right? So I flew to San Jose, California after 2-3 days. So let's go to next one. I thought that there was a description of power plant. Can you just go further? Go further, please. Something is missing. Okay, go back. I'm so sorry. I thought there was Go back. Okay, I'll explain the project. So, in a power plant scenario, the critical path goes to the boiler fabrication and erection of the boiler. That's a critical line. Critical path in the wedding goes to booking of venue, right? So basically, what you do is you get the information of the final column location and loading for the boiler vendor. Based on that, you design the foundation, you design the structure steel, construct foundation, construct steel, and go to get steel up to support the delivery of the drum. And after drum, you basically let your drum, boiler pressure parts, good turbine turning gear, boiler boiler, and start, right? So, when I went there, I looked at his earned value report, the cost status report. And my kind of first impression when I was traveling in the train, I said, well, this guy may have exaggerated percent complete. That's how he showed me the project manager schedule. And I looked at his assessment, he was right on the money. There was no exaggeration. What he had not done thoroughly was to analyze the CPM network. So when I analyzed it, what I uncovered that the project team was not getting the information from the boiler vendor on the column location and loading. They were unable to design the foundation and structure stream, which was critical. So what they were doing, they were designing switchyard, condenser, tank farm, all non-critical activities. And in my analysis then, what I determined was project was 6 weeks behind schedule. And it was a lump sum project, and we had a very high liquidity damages. And what ended up, because of this misinterpretation, we were late, we ended up paying $250,000 to the steel fabricator to make sure that the steel is erected when the drum comes. So again, probably he did not understand the intricacies of how you evaluate the schedule variance. And he was let go, very mild, he was let go, alright? So let's do the second case study. So here was a project I was involved in. It was fresh kills landfill reject mitigation located in Staten Island, New York. Anyone gone to New York? Anybody? No one has gone to New York? Alright. So it's the largest landfill in the world. Basically at that time it was handling 17,000 tons of New York City garbage. So we were contracted to basically perform a hydrogeological investigation. Based on them, we have to design containment, collection, and a treatment process to treat the leachate that comes out of the landfill. Alright? And there were 45 milestones that we had contracted. It was under consent order, and New York City Department of Sanitation was supposed to complete the project according to the schedule. 45 intermediate milestones. Each milestone carried a penalty of $15,000 a day. Very risky project, and reason being that my company wanted to demonstrate that we can manage the projects. They were like technical in nature, so they took the risk. If you want to enter as a project manager of environmental project, and this would be a good project to manage. So they hired me, and they brought me. I was in a power plant business, and I got into the environmental business. This was from 1990 to 1994, 4 years. So when the project started, it was like maybe under 9th month, and I got a call from the financial controller. Again, finance background. No offense, I know most of you have a business background. And he said, Pradeep, can you send me your progress report? So I sent the progress report, which showed that I had a negative schedule variance. That means the value of work accomplished, unvalued, was less than what we had planned. So he thought, oh, he got a juicy material. And he did some quirky math and came up with this assessment. This project is made with $5 million because we had 45 milestones. And then it's very interesting, you have this big corporation, but sometimes there are silos. That run by human beings, that people can make mistakes. They are not machines, big corporations. At the end of the day, they are run by human beings. So what he did was, he already advised the VP of operations that this project is in big trouble, and I just got the report from Pradeep. He never called me back to have a little interaction. They want to create his own. So those things do happen in organization. So the VP of operation got very much concerned. So he set up a meeting. He flew from Torrance, California to Edison, New Jersey. That's where we had the, and called up the monthly staff meeting. And he came with a baseball bat and gave a huge lecture. This is a very risky project. We're going to manage the schedule. And they are looking at each other. They say, what is he talking about? This project is on schedule. We met all the critical milestones. So, and then he showed the report that the financial controller had given me. So we had to explain to him that our approach on the job, since there were 45 intermediate milestones, to only focus on those activities that contributed to the achievement of those milestones. There are many peripheral activities which we basically let it slide. So the on value on those non-critical was much less. And that resulted in not achieving the same percent complete as we had planned. So just because there is a positive scheduler doesn't necessarily mean positive error schedule. Vice versa, just because there was a negative schedule variance doesn't necessarily mean that you are behind schedule. You got to evaluate in the context of the critical path methods. Very important. That's the life in project management. Does everyone understand the concept of critical path? Alright, good. Let me drink water. How are we doing on time? Where are we? Time. 11. So I think what I would like to do is to present to you the case study number 2, which is the implementation of enterprise-wide project management system. I'm very used to having a speaker on my shirt. So I'm very animated speaker. Not my style, but anyway. So should we take a 5-minute break? What do you think? So let's take a 5-minute break. We'll come back and I'll share with you some of the other case studies.